Travelers on the Omnibus occasionally touches on mature subject matter with mature language. As such, the audience discretion is advised.
Wake up!
I'm hosting.
Wake up!
I'm hosting again.
Jesus
This hardly ever happens.
Jesus Christ.
What do you mean hardly ever happens? You like
This
jumped
mother-
up and was like, I'll do it.
This mother.
When we were like, who's going?
Yeah,
This
You were
mother-
like, ah, tongue, baby. Like, no.
Like Jay,
no.
Jay,
We were like, who's gonna host? Me. I'm doing it. I called it.
But I never host twice in a row.
Jay does
We
the
usually
countdown.
don't host twice in a
Jay
row.
does the countdown, and then Ethan immediately disassociates through the countdown to pointing fingers and me yelling at him to
I
wake up.
did it a couple of weeks ago, and I completely it broke me.
Spoiler
There's
warning.
one thing of like going with a bit and making a bit.
Spoiler
and
warning.
Just having
No. What
we
if you have a bit, we will step on
Yeah.
it.
That is true.
Yeah.
Like it,
Also, if you're not functioning for any reason, we will step on you to make sure you're
like
alive.
it is a newborn kitten that can't survive.
So real quick, again, spoiler warning. Tonight's going to be fun.
Yeah.
We will,
Oh yeah.
Welcome to Travelers on the Omnibus. A field trip
we will
Literally was the
smother
1
that.
minute mark. That was actually at the 1 minute mark.
a field trip through nerd and pop culture and step and bit stepping.
Yeah.
Two seasons.
We're a habitual bit stepper.
Yeah.
My name's Ethan Skinner.
I'm James McCarthy.
I'm Brady Davis.
I'm Jody Kite, and Ethan straight up looked like he zoned out completely for that
Yeah,
whole
it's hard
first
to
part
tell
of
if
the
that's
show.
a
All right,
bit.
Mr. Bit Stepper, what have you been doing?
Here comes
have
the
I been
bit step.
doing?
I worded
What
up
have you been
on the
doing?
miracle bit
I'm
stepper,
afraid to
worded
start
up.
talking about it because you might step on my bits.
That's a sexual thing.
Not in the Pain Olympics, but
Forgive us for thinking you were actually disassociating.
Yeah,
because you're a really good actor. That's going to be the only good thing that I say about you today. So just bask in that.
You wanted to go ahead and get it
Bask
out of
in
the
that,
way so
yeah.
you could just shit talk me for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
I
We have
understand.
we have a
I
live
realized
studio
I fucked
audience.
up when I said
and
it. I was like,
Bianca-
oh,
Yeah.
I got
She's loving this.
And Bianca's leaning forward. I thought she wanted to add something to this. It's just
Yeah.
like, nope, wait
Yeah.
a minute.
no, she just wants to hear closer.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
So I have really bad ADHD.
Wait a minute. She has a note for us.
Wait, hang on.
She has a note for us. Ben, he's mean. Ben, he's mean.
Oh.
He's been mean.
He's been mean.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do I need to throw you down a flight of stairs?
I hope not.
Are you John Wick 4?
Can you throw me?
Probably not.
I thought we were going
We
to.
need to make that part of the Christmas special.
I thought that was an abortion joke.
censored.
Leave that shit in there.
Oh yeah.
I accidentally
Censored.
don't leave that in there.
Whoops.
Censored.
She.
Censored.
All right, so
What do you think I'm made out of, woman? Censored.
there just so happened to be a whole bouquet of.
Censored. Yeah, but don't you dare try to get one that's done in a safe way through a medical professional, goddammit.
Oh.
So sometimes I have a hard time trying to get into new stuff, and I was just like flipping through my Netflix, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna watch one of these probably really terrible newish anime show, not anime, but animated shows they have on Netflix. It looks awful. It might be funny. I'll check it out. So I watched all 10 episodes of the first season of Captain Fall.
I've never heard of this.
Boy, I
It
don't
just came out like a month ago, I think.
Okay.
So the plot is you have a group of like smugglers that
Okay.
own a carnival yacht kind of cruise ship, right?
Okay.
And so the show opens with there's an FBI raid. They take the captain in, and he's just freaking out because he has no idea what's going on. Meanwhile, all the other crew's like, all right, they've got him. Let's get ready for the next one. And so, it's a setup situation.
Oh, okay.
And the police force is probably the funniest part about this show. I mean, the captain is somewhat funny, but the police force is hilarious because there's like basically one good cop and everyone else is either like I think there's like maybe one actual dirty cop, and all the other cops are just really fucking stupid.
Okay.
Because they're talking about it's like oh well, our case is almost closed, but we need to start questioning that captain guy from that last mission. And then a guy walks in and goes, no problem, case closed. He just Epsteined himself, and they were being serious. That shit was pretty good. I like it. But Captain Fall is about Captain Fall, who is the worst graduate from the university to be a cruise captain, and so these mercenary / smugglers want the worst possible candidate they could get, so that he can not notice anything that's happening because he's gullible or stupid or easy to sway. Mm-hmm. And he's a mostly likable character because his parents are awful people, and he's 27 and they make him live in a treehouse. You'd have to watch the show to really get all of those references. But I liked it. It was actually pretty decent. It wasn't amazing. It didn't blow my socks off. But, in the timeline that we are in now with mostly mediocre programs like that, it's actually pretty good. So I'd probably comparing it to newer stuff, I would probably give it a 6, maybe a 7, depending on the episode that you're watching. Some characters are better than others, and so I watched
an adult animation thing.
Yeah, it's one of those geared towards adults. There's a lot of gore when people get shot, their brains are everywhere, kind of thing.
Yeah, we're outside of the golden age of Adult Swim cartoons, and
right?
shit like that.
Pretty much. There's no the subtle humor out the window or whatever. There's a scene where two of the smugglers are downstairs in the bottom of the ship, and they're cutting hands off of gorillas because that's one thing for ashtrays.
Yeah,
and they're like, I don't know,
that's
Klaus.
a really old joke.
Yeah, I don't know, Klaus. I really feel like my life has no meaning, and they're just it's pretty good. It's made by the same guys who made one of those Norse shows. I think it was the Norsemen. They're all every name on there is it's probably originally a Swede production or something, a Swedish or Polish or something like that.
Okay,
and so it's pretty decent. The voice acting's pretty good too. So I watched that. Last night I was going through Prime and I hadn't watched anything in a minute, so I decided to revisit Joaquin Phoenix's The Joker because I haven't seen it since the movie came out. And it's all right, I like it. I really so far I'm glad they haven't really done anything else like that for the most part, because
there's a second one coming.
I don't want that
with Lady Gaga is Harley Quinn.
Yeah. I saw that.
I think that should have been a one and done situation.
Yeah, I don't care anything about that movie or any I just don't.
Anything else?
That's it. That's it for me for what I did by myself this week.
Let's go with Jay.
Hello, everyone. So just two big things. Mentioned it very briefly in the last episode, but started painting the Awakened Wildwoods we have for the terrain for our Age of Sigmar table. And I guess we can also use it for, it could be a Catachan Death World for
sure.
So we can do that too for 40K as well. And the next, I bought 2 sets, and I put together the first one. I'm painting it now. I think with the second one, I may leave it on sprue. I may prime it and at the very least base coat it on sprue, and then put it together afterwards, because even with the contrast paint, which I will say has been a godsend for this one.
Yeah.
Even with the contrast paint, getting into some of those nooks has just been fucking.
Yeah, I was looking at it and
terrifying.
it did look annoying.
Yeah, I like the way it's coming out. It's about 75% paint, 25% painter. So, but I'm liking the way it's coming out so far. I haven't hit the dry brush on the blue yet, but I have worked the dry brush on the wood on the first one yet. So it's looking pretty good there for me. So I'm really enjoying.
I like how the base of those trees are like a crescent moon of bones.
Yeah, there's skeletons and more wood, there's rocks and all these things. The fact that life is growing around the top of this, and it's clear that here there be danger, because here's open bodies just up in the thing. I also love the fact that the entire thing is set together so that you can basically build an it's circular, but it's not anywhere like it's a very strange circle with like angles coming out, and so that whole area that it creates is a forest. So you don't have to like because this is going back. Oh my God, this is going back almost 20 years now. When we were doing 40K, I think it was second edition going into third edition at the Ole Miss Gaming Club. We had terrain built that was forest, and it was those like little like Christmas tree forest. But there were so many of them jammed in together that it was hard to sometimes move everything, especially when you had to keep coherency of the unit. So that was, I like this and the fact that okay, this whole open area is forest.
Did
Cool.
back in the old quick off topic, still on topic, like back in the old days of Warhammer for terrain and stuff, did people like repurpose like the railroad hobby stuff?
Yes,
for
not
that?
all the time, and it's also a different scale. I think it's like I think it's a 50 millimeter scale for train stuff, and it's a 28 millimeter scale for Warhammer, both 40K and originally then Fantasy Battles and now AOS. So sometimes there was a size and proportion thing. Is like if you had like roads and train track, that might work. Like there was a mega train that ran through here, so okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But for other stuff, no, you pretty much you can use whatever you've got. One time we didn't have access to the box of terrain, and so this toilet paper roll is an unassailable mountain, and look, here's a bag of Doritos. That's a C because it's Cool Ranch. Just go with it. Just go with it, and just kind of move around and do
what
stuff.
What about the terrain stuff, like the moss and things like that they have for that hobby, like the train hobby?
Yeah. Oh yeah, flocking.
Yeah.
With flocking, like there's a number of ways you can do that. The easiest way is cut out a piece of cardboard and then just some Elmer's glue, water it down a little bit, like PVC glue in general, but I'm using the brand name just in specific. And then you would just basically dip it in the flock, or you'd pour the flock over it, shake it out, let it dry. Oh, you've got a little patch of grass, or here's what like. This could be like a small patch of like rough terrain inside of the grass. So you could do it that way. You could also say that darker green, if you put it on lighter green, would be like that's the forest, and so you draw the lines there, and you don't have to worry about moving things, and just use mind's eye to just kind of envision.
I watched this real quick. I watched a video on YouTube today where a guy used Loctite aerosol foam and bowls, 2 halves, and made a foam pumpkin by doing that.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty rad stuff.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah. Welcome to Craft Corner on the Omnibus.
Yes.
Other part that pretty much took up the rest of my week was F-099.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that, so I learned about it from the Nintendo Direct.
Yeah.
And they had it ready to go the minute the Direct was over. You just download it and play it. I didn't watch it until the day after, so I downloaded then. If you remember playing F-Zero from Super Nintendo, it's pretty much the same controls. It feels a little looser, but that may be my memory thinking differently. I would definitely say if you're playing on a Pro controller or if you're playing with the Joy-Cons, don't use the stick.
D-pad.
Use the D-pad because you will fling yourself from one end of the road to the other.
I will tell you, I played F-Zero in the past like maybe 5 years or whatever. Those controls were always floaty.
They were always floaty. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's good to know there. But now the big difference here, instead of playing as single player, you have 98 other people competing against you.
Yeah.
Battle Royale style.
On
so
the same maps from the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
It goes. It's falling under that series of like
Tetris 99.
Tetris 99,
Tetris
Mario
99,
99,
Mario, I believe 30 or 35. You only had to go up against 30 other Mario players. But
there was also
Pac-Man 99,
Right.
which
Pac-Man 99,
which Namco pulled. I want to say earlier this year.
Right.
Which I was sad about that because that one actually was a fun. Like these games that you wouldn't think battle royale very well.
Right.
Tetris Royale, it was just amazing.
Yeah.
I've played that Tetris 99.
I
at
would
least
throw
once or twice.
I would throw F-099 in with that, absolutely. The first map typically of everyone is not even on the course. It's this little straightaway that everybody's racing towards before you start the actual lap, so you can kind of get your initial position in there. They do a very great job of, even if you aren't the best racer in the world and can't get around the top 10 spots, every race you have 4 rivals that are matched by your basically a kind of a simple ELO ranking, letter grade, plus minus letter grade. Right now I'm at a B, trying to work on a B plus. But yeah, it goes B. It's you start C minus and you work your way up. You have 4 rivals, and however many rivals you defeat, that's how far up you go on the elo. If you don't beat any of them, you go down on the elo. So it kind of keeps you balanced as far as that goes.
Okay.
So you have people that you're racing against there. Whichever vehicle you are racing, it actually charts how many other racers were you racing that same vehicle and what was your position amongst them.
Okay.
Versus the people of your same rank, like B rank pilots. If you were in this course, you can play like there was 30 of them, and you were like the second best B race pilot. They'll put 2 of 30 on that one. So you have not just the winner, but there's other levels of engagement of where you can gauge how good your racing is.
That sounds awesome.
I think it's absolutely phenomenal. I highly recommend. First of all, it's free, so don't worry about if you got a Switch and you have even just the basic online. You don't
base
need
Nintendo Online.
You don't need the expansion plus. You just need that, and you can be in there and you can just have fun and play one of. Right now, and it is early, but first impression, one of the best battle royale games I've ever played.
Okay.
Full stop. I have the Fire Stingray, which was Samurai Goro's, and the first different color they give you is green. So 10 out of 10, the best decision in the world.
I have yet to download it, but I do intend on playing it.
Do so.
Yes.
Do so. It's so much fun.
Brady, let's go with you.
So yeah,
What have you been doing?
I recently finished. I'm not gonna. It's not a rewatch because I actually hadn't ever watched this show. So growing up, one of my favorite shows was Batman the Animated Series. I watched it every time I got home from school. I believe it was on Saturday mornings as well. I watched it then. I watched the hell out of that show. And then it got a sequel series called Batman Beyond. And by the time and when it got that sequel series was only on WB.
It was, yeah.
So I didn't get to watch that because I didn't get WB. I didn't even get satellite TV or any like extra channels until I was like 13, 14. Like so like I missed out on it. And I never picked it back up. I think I've watched episodes here and there, but I never watched the entire series. So I decided I'm going to watch the entire series, and it's pretty good. I think it actually has a better none of the episodes are like super great. And some of this could be colored by nostalgia. Like a lot of those Batman the Animated Series, like those are a
lot of definitive episodes in that show.
But then there's a lot of garbage as well.
There is a lot to episodes in that show.
On average, like I think Batman Beyond is probably a better show because there aren't really any. There's no Batmans in the basement of that series.
Right,
like, they were all pretty good episodes.
Gotcha.
It was just there was no like phenomenal episodes. Like oh shit. There was a couple of like pretty good ones that had some nostalgia stuff with it. It's a pretty good show. It's short, and it kind of ends on a nothing. Like, I didn't look it up, but like you can tell just like they didn't know that it was ending when they had it because it just kind of ends on just an episode.
Ending. Yeah.
So yeah, I finished that. That was pretty good. That's something that it's been forever, and I probably should have watched it way before now, but I didn't. I also finished the book. I think a while back I had talked about how I had started the book. If you're reading this, you're in the wrong universe. It's a book by Jason Pargin in the John Dies at the End series. Story about so they live in this like shitty dying Midwest town that is all these supernatural things happen, and they're kind of the people that people come to deal with stuff. And they get a call one day with a client, and this kind of affluent family, and the daughter got one of these little like this toy egg thing that hatches, and you have to feed it through an app and all this stuff. And they caught her putting teeth and hair in it, and then they're all having like the entire family's having strange dreams at night. So they have to deal with that. I finished it up. It's a pretty good. So far this series has been 4 for 4. I've read 4 of the books, and they're all really good. So yeah, that's finish that. If like,
Quick question: is that the end of the series, or is he?
No. He said there's another. Okay. He's continuing with that. I think he has like at least so he's got 2 series right now. I think he's got like at least like 1 or 2 other books left on his contract for that series, and then like another couple for this other series. So yeah, no, it's not the end. And the good thing about these is any of those books you can just kind of pick up, and you don't have, like, he writes them so you don't have to read the previous one. You can jump around if you want. And it's very much like that. You can get kind of, the gist before. With this one, I would say probably read the first one because it lays down like some things that keep some reoccurring things that happen in the book, because there's this thing that they call soy sauce. It's like this living thing that's also like a liquid, but it's a drug, and when you take it, it basically like gives you extra sensory you almost, it's random really what happens, but like your senses become so heightened that you're almost seeing beyond space and time. So that kind of establishes that, and then but you can read these in any order really. So yeah, if any of that sounds interesting, check that out. They're very, very funny. The first one was made into a movie that's pretty decent. It's not like phenomenal, but it's pretty decent. So yeah, check those out. And then the last thing, just on a whim the other day, I went on Disney Plus and I watched the new Pixar movie Elemental. And I thought it was very good. This was a movie. If you look at like when it came out, people are going to say this was a bomb, but it actually it had staying power in the theaters, and it actually like made a good amount of money.
Well, that's good.
It just didn't make a whole lot of money
as what Pixar would have expected.
Well,
it
actually made a lot of money. It just didn't make it like that first weekend, which is what most people pay attention to.
Well, didn't it also come out right when English? Right when Oppenheimer and Barbie were like still being watched, even though it was after their
no, it came out before then. It just kind of like, people called it a flop because it just didn't make a whole lot of money in opening weekend, but it had staying power, and just eventually like it's like 4th or 5th weekend it like shot up like.
Right.
It also has, as far as like when people look at it, it has the dead albatross of being a Pixar movie, and the fact there's been so many like groundbreaking, like world-changing Pixar movies that if the movie doesn't do that, then it's the worst Pixar movie.
And it's not even that it didn't do that; it just didn't do it immediately.
Right, exactly.
Which I would argue we probably need to start looking at movies in a different way. Because after 2020, like that's things have changed, and we still want to
do because you're gonna have a lot of people that are like, going to the movies is expensive, especially with a family of 4. So if that movie's going to be on Disney Plus in a few months, we're gonna wait and watch it then, kind of thing.
Yeah, but something happened, and later on when it was there like 4 or 5 weeks,
word of mouth.
They decided, okay, and it is a really good movie.
Yeah.
It kind of, when you just, and the problem, I think one of the problems with it is when you just kind of look at it, it seems very similar to Zootopia. Yeah. Because there's the 4 elements, and they're basically all people, and they all live in Element City, and the fire people get treated a little bit differently.
Me and Bianca actually watched it this past week as well.
Oh, okay. All right.
We very enjoyed it.
Oh yeah. It's a very, very good movie. But it tells it uses kind of a similar premise, but it tells a different story. Because it's really about a story about immigrants. Because the fire people, they all immigrate to Element City, like they're the most recent immigrants.
Because it was originally like the earth, the air, and the water people that
they
popularized Element City, and even then, like Firetown is still like on the outskirts of the main city.
They are the Italians and the Irish and the Jewish people in like the early 20th century.
Yeah. It's also like the first generations like wanting to do more than just like carry tradition as to what like parents expect them.
Yeah, the first generation from the immigrant, the So yeah, there's a lot of that in it. It's got a pretty interesting love story in that, because you actually kind of like you feel that that connection between those two.
Right. Yeah. Typically, the Pixar and the DreamWorks and the Disney movies, the animated quote unquote kids movies, they have that, like, the trailers always have like these, like, it's got the surface comedy jokes and things like that. Like Inside Out, you have no idea how emotional that is until you watch it.
Like the trailer, it shows the main character like touching an earth person with the tree on it, and it burns the leaves, and it's like, that's funny because fire burns grass. And then you watch it, and it's like, oh, why am I suddenly pouring tears out of my eyes?
Yeah, it's a very emotional movie, and it talks about the whole, the thing of like the next generation of immigrants, the expectations that their parents put on them. There's a lot going on this, and I think
having
that they
to sacrifice your life to carry their dreams.
Yeah, and if you want to compare it to Zootopia, I think it does the metaphor that it's trying to do better than Zootopia does the metaphor that it's trying to do. But yeah, it's a really good movie. If you have Disney Plus, I would say check it out because it is definitely worth watching.
I'll probably watch it this weekend. You know what didn't connect with audiences?
What was that?
I Was a Teenage Kraken.
Oh yeah.
That made half of its budget.
Yeah, that I had to watch that fucking trailer over several movies.
Yeah,
and I was like,
I did
Jesus,
too.
this looks
And
like
I was
this
like,
looks so bad.
I was like, not for me.
So bad.
Yeah, no.
So bad. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. I've been gathering up cards for my Lorcana decks that I am building. I have most of that done.
I want the Winnie. I don't know if I'm ever gonna like get the cards to like make actual decks. I just want the Winnie the Pooh card that's coming out in the next set.
Oh yeah, the Honey Wizard.
Yeah,
and luckily
Honey
he's
Wizard,
a common, and he's not like a great card. So
that art, I absolutely love it.
Yeah,
and I want to play out of it.
Yeah, they also previewed another card called "I'm Stuck," which is Honey, which is Winnie the Pooh stuck in the hole, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
They previewed the next series because of course we got to do this shit every 3 months.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah. That's what I've been doing.
Man, I was already sold on Lorcana, and then you're going to throw Winnie the Pooh in there?
Yeah.
Honey Wizard.
Honey Wizard.
Winnie the Pooh.
The art on it is just so cool.
Yeah. It will probably be impossible to find because the playmats are impossible to find, but the Honey Wizard's going to be a playmat.
You could Inked Playmats, not a sponsor.
Look at that art.
Inked Playmats. You can take the art on that and upload into Inked Playmats and get that custom.
Yes.
It might cost $40. Who cares if you want that, right?
Yeah.
I'm already downloading the image because I want the playmat.
InkedPlaymats.com.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've actually ordered one from Inked Playmats very recently.
There's a couple. I think that's not the only one, but I think that's one of the main ones.
One of my
Quick note, that is not a sponsored link. That's just how much we like inkplaymats.com.
It is nice.
One of my favorite glass stainless glass art playmats is from Inked Playmats.
And playingcards.com, you can get any playing cards of any size printed if you have the image for it.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Not for commercial use, for your own personal use.
Yes.
Yeah. If you want to make a, whatever, custom cards or Ethan. What have you been up to?
So much like Brady using Disney Plus, I've also been watching something on Disney Plus.
Wait. Fuck him.
Huh?
Just fuck him.
What?
What?
He just ripped the hosting right from us. Fuck him.
What? Huh?
Rebellion.
Okay, so Ethan has nothing going on.
I was trying to do a bit, but it wasn't even that I got stepped on. It never got out of the garage.
That one stalled on you, brother.
Yeah, literally. So yeah. Ethan, what have you been up to?
We weren't picking up what you were putting down, man.
I recently started a TV show called The Owl House.
Okay, I've heard about this.
Which is made by one of the people that worked on Gravity Falls, which I absolutely love.
Gravity Falls is great.
And my friend James Stone, shout out to James Stone, he introduced me to something that I wish I never learned called the Flapjack family of cartoons.
Yeah, The Misadventures of Flapjack.
I've heard
That's
of
like
this too.
it's not Ren and Stimpy, but it's just as fucking weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for those of you that don't know, The Misadventures of Flapjack is just a nightmare show that Cartoon Network made in like 2008.
It was, and it ran for like 3 or 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking great. If you like
I
absurdist
loved
humor,
it. I
it's fucking
loved
great.
it. And so after that show died out, some of the people that worked on that kind of like moved on and made some of their own things. Like J.G. Quintel, he worked in made regular show still with Cartoon Network.
Okay.
Pendleton Ward, he went on to do
Adventure Time.
as well as Bravest Warriors.
Cat Bug.
Yes.
Cat Bug.
Yes. And then Alex Hirsch, he went on to do Gravity Falls.
Yep.
And one of the assistant creators of that show, it is Dana Terrence. She made The Owl House, which Alex Hirsch actually voices one of the characters in it.
I'm going to stop you for 1 second, Ethan. It's the same shit that happened on Cartoon Network back in the day, because Gendy Tartakovsky made Dexter's Lab. Craig McCracken started working on that as an intern, ended up directing a couple episodes. Craig McCracken also responsible for Foster's Imaginary Home and Powerpuff Girls.
Oh, wow.
And Gendy, of course, also made Samurai Jack as well. And there's other people involved with other shows on there, but go ahead.
And Primal.
Oh, yeah, Primal.
I want to watch Primal.
Primal is
I see a lot of stuff about Primal
fucking
that I really
great.
want to watch.
Primal is fucking great.
Yeah, and then people that worked on Adventure Time went on to do their own things, like Skylar Page made Clarence. Not really a good show, but Rebecca Sugar, she made Steven Universe.
Yeah.
Okay.
In which the people that made OK Go, OKKO, Wannabe Hero, Craig of the Creek.
I've heard of that one.
One of the people that worked on Adventure Time that also helped with Bee and Puppycat, she's currently making a Bee and Puppycat show on Cartoon Network right now.
Yeah, and there's a new Bee and Puppycat on Netflix as well.
And one of the people that's currently helping with that, they made Over the Garden Wall.
I've heard of that.
McHale,
haven't watched it.
Absolutely love.
I've heard good things about. I've heard good things about most of these shows. I just
right.
never have gotten around to watching them. Probably won't, but I still
Owl
appreciate
House is really good.
I've heard good things about all of them. It's just I
know.
only have so much fucking
I know.
time.
And then going on to the regular show train, J.G. Quintel, he went on to make Close Enough on HBO Max or whatever. And Owen Dennis, who assisted with the regular show, he went on to make Infinity Train.
I've heard of that.
I've also heard of that.
I've heard that. That's pretty good.
So it's kind of like mind-boggling to see that all of these shows I absolutely love came from a nightmare-induced coma.
Yeah. It's good when things like that happen.
All thanks to The Misadventures of Flapjack.
A nightmare-induced coma. He was already asleep.
Yeah.
Had a nightmare, and it drove him further into sleep.
Yep.
I feel like Charlie Day with like all the red lines on the walls, like, so this is connected to this.
For
and this is
any
connected to
audience
this.
members that are not familiar with Flapjack, I'll tell you, it's pretty much like the original Ren and Stimpy. The original first 2 seasons of Ren and Stimpy and SpongeBob SquarePants had a baby.
Yeah.
Like but really good jokes though.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much that show.
There's one scene that always sticks with me. Is like somehow, some way, a mermaid is like flying into the air, and she says like, "Remember, Flapjack, if you wish hard enough, all your wishes will come true." He says, "Even the bad ones." She's like, "Ha ha ha." Yes. And then
Flapjack is one of those shows like the original Ren and Stimpy where it felt like you were on drugs even if you didn't need to be.
Was anybody in that involved with what's that fucking show that my kid watched? Uncle Grandpa?
I think
Jesus.
the art style is definitely the same as Gravity Falls. Uncle Grandpa. Look up Uncle Grandpa.
It feels like somebody was like
because he looks like
it was in all those things, and I remember like for some reason that was the one that she watched, and I didn't particularly like that, but I appreciate weird ass cartoons.
Sure,
I think that kids deserve weird ass on the edge of mentally scarring you cartoons.
Right.
Peter Braungart worked on Steven Universe.
Okay, yeah. Yeah,
I will
it's
say-
all yeah.
Yeah, the grandpa dude looks just like Grunkle Stan or whatever his name was from Gravity Falls.
What's this I'm finding? Secret Mountain Fort Awesome. One guy is literally just a bunch of butts.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I didn't like it all that much. I didn't get a whole lot out of it, but again, I appreciate that weird shit like that
I will
exists.
say, like, out of all those shows, Owl House doesn't go into that, like, weird category.
Yeah.
It's very like, I wouldn't say it's Harry Potter, but it's got that kind of feel of like, magic schools and.
One of the voices.
We got really on a tangent.
Yeah,
we did.
One of the voices for the Owl House, Ida, she is the same voice actor for Chi-Cha from The Emperor's New Groove.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
I heard it. I'm like, that voice is so familiar. Why do I know it for some reason?
Fuck, what's her name? Because she's been an actress for a while. You wouldn't know this, Ethan, because you're not old enough. But there was a show called Spin City
Wendy
that she was
Malick.
on. Yeah. And she's been an actress for a pretty good while.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm absolutely loving the show. I can't wait to watch more of it.
Yeah, like I said, I've heard good things about most of those shows. I've heard good things, or I know about them, and have seen, and like, oh yeah, this is, again, like, I'm all about like weird ass shows for kids to watch.
Yeah. Other than
We don't have any time. All right, moving on to the next segment of the show.
That's how you do a rebellion. Quickly, snap, done.
Hey guys, Future Jay here. We went about 35 minutes deep on some board game and card game talk, and so we decided to cut that out, and it's going to be a rest stop available later this week. Hope you enjoy it. And anyway, back to this, and back to neurological disorder for one Ethan Skinner. Let's see what happens.
Jay,
Are you fucking stroking, bro?
Are you stroking?
Jay, where can they find people who listen to us other places?
I'm the one who's supposed to forget how this thing works, not you. You have a younger brain than I do.
He's having a lobotomy internally.
Where can the people listen to us?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us this far on the podcast. If you would like to send other people our way, and they don't listen on the same podcasting channels that you listen to, we are available on Spotify, Apple, Google, and Amazon. Saga.
And Jody, where can the fine people reach us?
They can reach us at travelersontheomnibus@gmail.com. 1L. You can also message us directly or take part of any polls we may have on Spotify. Do we have any feedback?
This week, no, but because I forgot it.
Okay.
Legitimately.
Okay.
Gotcha.
That's fine.
Well, in that case, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to...
Thank you for joining us in this
What?
journey. In this journey of us are slowly declining memories, whereas we all
yes.
Refusing memories
as
to,
we all slide into dementia.
Wait, who are y'all?
Oh shit! Why am I here?
Who are you?
What's happening?
What's that woman?
Wake up,
And-
Ethan.
Okay, I'm here. Okay, I definitely wasn't
Disassociating
running from someone.
again.
Yeah.
We definitely weren't running from someone. Gotcha. Okay, so
Pajama man.
Pajama Man. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a while, but we are back.
Been a while.
Since we done chalkboards.
Chalkboard top 5 this week. It is our top 5 video game bosses.
Oh shit! Video game bosses. Okay,
Yes.
I'm kidding.
Let's go ahead and start this stuff.
Hold on.
Breathe.
So did we? Did we all do this as boss fights, or did we just do it as bosses, as in the idea of the boss? Or
Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do our top 5s and see what happened.
yeah, okay.
I'm gonna say the last time we did bulleting.
It's been a
been
hot
a while.
minute. We don't remember who had the bullet and who shot something.
Again, our slow.
No, wait a minute. We have dice.
Our
we
fast
legitimately
decline.
have dice.
Okay. So
Here's a die. Here's a die. Here's a die. The winner of this dice roll gets.
We're all
the
gonna
bullet.
roll a
Okay.
6.
We're gonna okay. I rolled a
2.
3.
I have a 1.
I have a
The
3.
three
Oh
wins.
God, I have the bullet. What? I didn't
Jay
need
has
that.
the bullets.
All right,
Yeah,
there we go. Literally, that is. Yeah, that's no. If you'd all rolled 1s and I rolled a 2, that would have been the lowest
Yeah.
roll.
Yeah.
Well, holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for those that don't know, the magic nuclear silver uranium bullet. After we give our list, Jay has an option of shooting any one
No,
list.
I've watched Oppenheimer. It's a plutonium bullet.
Plutonium bullet.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
because
silver-
we need less of it. It's
silver,
Gotcha.
plutonium, uranium, magic.
That's what Oppenheimer told me.
Yes.
And so Jay is able to shoot one itemized thing to make sure it does not come into our absolute undisputed top 5 list.
Except
for the
anyone's number
slots.
ones.
Yes.
And number ones are shielded. They
Jay-
have they're not like Madame Curie. They had a lead belt.
Jay, since you won the plutonium bullet,
I'm winning everything tonight.
you
This is
get
great.
to go first.
All right, very nice. Okay, so number 5. So after 7 worlds of Your Princess is in Another Castle, Super Mario Brothers World 8-4, the Bowser at the end of that, because that is the Bowser. That is the true Bowser. There are no other Bowsers like him except Bowser. The reason why this one is on my list in particular is because this is the first video game I ever beat. And so the Super Mario 8-4 Bowser is the first game I ever got all the way through and got done. It started a long line of Nintendo games that I completed, including but not limited to The Legend of Zelda, Metroid, Faxanadu, which
What?
yes.
You beat
Wow.
Faxanadu?
Yeah, that was the next 3 games after that I beat were The Legend of Zelda, Metroid, and Faxanadu.
Okay. Jesus.
Did you even know Faxanadu was a Nintendo game,
Nope.
Brady?
I don't even
just
know what
wanted to
game
make
you're
sure.
talking about.
There we go. But my number 5, the Bowser at the end of Super Mario Brothers 8-4. My number 4. So there's
Good
this
choice.
game. It's not really a game; it's a movie. But every so often you get to push buttons. It's called Metal Gear, and it's particularly the Metal Gear Solid series. You waited 4 whole solid games for this final fight, and you get it in 3 stages, and it's all karate moves for the most part. It is Metal Gear Solid 4: Guns of the Patriots, the fight with Liquid Ocelot.
Okay.
So that is oh my! Everything that they built into that was amazing. It's a 3-stage fight. The first part of the fight, you're fighting Liquid. The second one is Liquid Ocelot, and the third one is Ocelot. And they play the themes for the first 3 games in the background while you're doing this.
Oh,
and it's a
okay.
timed fight, so you have to win it in a certain amount of time, or you don't win at all. So there's this tension that's also built up there with the ticking clock element. It's very tense, very cool. Again, it builds on the previous 3 games and the 4th game in which you've also been playing with there. But yes, Metal Gear Solid 4, the battle with Liquid Ocelot.
My dad played Metal Gear 4, and I absolutely loved watching him play it.
I don't doubt. A few weeks ago, I said this was my number 1 boss of all time. However, again, we allowed emotion to subside on this. However, it is still sticking at number 3. It is Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, the final fight with the final boss in that, which... spoilers, it's Ganon.
Yeah.
But that is another multi-tiered staged fight. I'm not going to go into everything about it, but the final stage of that is one of my favorite just sequences in a boss battle of all time. Because again, if you'll notice a little bit, these all kind of have a theme of that they build up on one another. Again, 8-4 Bowser, you fought Bowser maybe 7 times if you took Warp Zones less, but it's always at the end of the level you have this Bowser character you have to fight.
And he's
then
more and more difficult
and
as it
he
goes.
starts throwing hammers around World 6 and it's like, oh shit, what am I going to do? Liquid Ocelot, again, builds up on 3 whole games and the whole CQC system that really kind of developed more so in 3 than anything else, but
Yeah.
it's harkening back to a lot of stuff. This battle in particular harkens back to so many plot points that you hit throughout Tears of the Kingdom if you're
Okay.
doing completionist, and they do it so well. And it's just from a perspective of what you're doing, it is so much fun to do. So
Okay.
my number 3 is going to be Tears of the Kingdom, the Ganon fight. Ganon.
Awesome.
Number 2. Holder, you do not have to worry about fighting any of us because this one is my number 2 of all time. It's Final Fantasy VI. It's the battle with Kefka. The battle with Kefka. A 4-stage fight. Yeah,
That's how if you play the older ones. I never played the original version, but I played the Game Boy Advance version. That's the main one
which
that I
is
played.
which is a very faithful
Yeah.
iteration. Let me say
Yeah.
that right now.
That's how he sounds in that one.
Sounds like a
But,
a coked up Santa. Like,
It's a.
I mean, that's basically that's Kafka, except his presence that he's giving you is death.
interesting.
The 4-stage fight ultimately ends with, like you said, the fallen angel Kefka at the top of this tower of just indescribable monstrosity.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely amazing. The music throughout it is completely, like, it keeps you energized throughout the entire fight. The fact that you could use every single character you've picked up along the way and probably have to because of how and who and what you're fighting. Oh my God. Fantastic. The man who destroyed the world, and eventually you get your justice on him. So, number 1, We're going to stay in the Super Nintendo realm. This was the first time I was ever moved at the end of a video game that I can really like totally go. It's like the story of this, and it's a very story minimal game, but if you've played this game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is the boss fight with Mother Brain at the end of Super Metroid.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
So, Super
a good
Metroid's Mother Brain fight is a 2-stage fight. This one I don't mind spoiling because it's been almost we're 30 years, right?
I think it's about that. Yeah,
We're getting close to 30
I
years.
wasn't
on
very
this.
old when this game came out.
Yeah, Mother Brain. Hi, I'm Mother Brain. That was her voice in the Captain
Captain
series.
N, the game master.
Absolutely. But prior to this, you find out that the baby Metroid that you saved at the end of Metroid 2, he's grown up a little bit, and he almost kills you, and then he realizes who you are, and he leaves you alone. And there's an energy restorer nearby, so you fill up, you go through, and it starts out kind of as the old run to Mother Brain. And you'd finish that old run and everything. Okay, it's fine. There's her dead brain on the floor. And then it attaches to a giant mecha body.
Yeah.
And now you fight Mecha Mother Brain. Holy shit, she's got the laser from the Death Star and she just keeps hitting you with it.
Yep.
And she almost destroys you. And then the baby Metroid comes in and just sucks out her soul.
Yep.
And then she brings the energy and she revitalizes you. And then she wakes up and she kills the baby Metroid. And that's like, oh, now I've got to fight for justice. Only the baby Metroid gave you the hyper beam. And so you just annihilate the shit out of her. Which starts there's always a countdown at the end of Metroid.
Yep.
Everything's blowing up. You got to get out of there. And you get out of there.
Yep.
Thank the good Lord. Well, you might not get out of there because you might suck. Like for me, I almost didn't get out the first time I got through this. Like, oh, I can't get through this wall because I can't shoot through it. I'm like, you have a hyper beam.
Yeah.
Oh God! And I lost like 30 seconds on that in the first time through. But I did save the Etikons, who were like the cool little alien guys that you see in there. I was able to save them, got them off of Zebus. Zebus blows up. Everything about that, start to finish. That game is, we use the term perfect movie when we're talking about movies that just kind of have, that is a perfect video game to me in the fact that between story setup and the primary loop of playing the game, Super Metroid's just all of that, but the Mother Brain fight is my favorite boss fight of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Good list.
Very, very good list. Jody, let's go with you.
Let's see if I can be as enthusiastic as Jay.
I would hope so. These are your top
Calm
5
down,
boss fights.
Jody. Calm down.
Oh my God.
So much energy.
Are you stroking?
Soaking with energy.
My number 5. Fuck Mike Tyson! Oh my God! That motherfucker! It took me years to beat that goddamn motherfucker. And that code went straight to him after I beat most of the rest of the game. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!, for anybody who doesn't know, is a boxing game that stars one Mike Tyson before they lost his license and had to just call it Punch-Out!. Yeah, that game is a fucking classic. Once you get past the first 3 guys and you get past I think it was like Honda
Piston Honda.
Piston Honda was the first.
The first title holder.
The first title. After that game gets hard really quick. But man, Mike Tyson, oh my God, you have like a very tiny window to get that guy. He like one hit knocks you out.
Yeah.
You have to duck, dodge, weave, dive, duck, and dodge again. Nice. So Mike Tyson from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! Is my number 5.
Notice I didn't even put the game. I just put Mike Tyson underlined
on the original Nintendo Entertainment System. The next boss fight, only because of difficulty. I played pretty much all of the Final Fantasy games in my entire life. And out of all of the bosses, this was the most difficult, and I grinded really hard before I got to it. It's one of Jay's least Final Fantasy games, but it's one of my favorite Final Fantasy bosses, and that's Kuja from 9. That motherfucker, final form...
K or C?
I think it's K.
It's a K.
I think, yeah. I was thinking Cujo. My bad, man.
So this is like something that like they started doing with bosses after I think 8 actually. Well, actually, probably after 7, but Kuja had like 15 different ones. This motherfucker hits you with status effects, like left and right. And he had this one beam that would hit your entire party. And if it didn't wipe your entire party, it hit you with different status effects. Berserk, sleep, paralysis, stone, any of those numbered things or whatever. So that's my number 4. My number 3 is another original Nintendo game, and that is Dracula at the end of Castlevania 1.
Okay, yeah.
That is a difficult ass fucking fight. It is really rough. If you don't get it the first time you get there, you have like almost no chance because you've got like your regular. You might have the first or second iteration of the whip, but you're really fucked if you don't have the specific item that you need to really. I think it's holy water that really.
You need holy water for phase 2.
Yeah,
you want because I think the holy water is at the back of the room. You get the cross going into the room,
right?
And you need that to get as many shots on the head of Dracula,
right?
And
right.
Yeah, the timing is tight. Depending on where he teleports to, he could teleport directly on top of you, and you got to make the adjustment there in order to be able to do it. That one's a rough and rugged match.
Yeah,
and so my second is the PS1 classic Metal Gear Solid Psycho Mantis.
Yep. I figured somebody was going to put that one on there.
Psycho Mantis. Wow, what a challenging boss fight. That and a weird ass character too. That had something to do with like the second controller. Like
you had to plug into the second controller because else otherwise he would like control your person. He would also read your memory card and say like, "Oh, you like this game?
You like to play Castlevania Symphony of the Night?" Wait, what?
Yeah,
okay.
It was one of the early
Easter egg,
fourth wall breaking.
Oh yeah.
This is because there's another fight with Psycho, a new type. I can't remember his name from 4, but right before
I don't know any of their names.
Before you go into the last boss fight in 4, you face another version of Psycho Mantis, but it's a different name for it. And I can't remember for it, but the last name is Mantis.
Yeah, because the bosses in that were like variations of the Metal Gear Solid bosses. Yeah.
My number 1 is also Mother Brain, but from the original NES game.
Okay.
Because if you were not equipped with enough energy and enough rockets to kill that bitch, you were in trouble because there's all kinds of shit coming at you. You got Metroids everywhere. You have to like get on a very small like little platform that's like a lip in between the glass when you break it. Oh my god, it took forever for me to beat that game as a whole, and it took me forever to beat the Mother Brain when I got there.
The annoying part about that fight, and a little bit for the Super Metroid, but less so because what you're fighting later, they realize, okay, we can't do this to him. But the Zebatites, those little barriers in between her and you, you have to keep hitting them with missiles.
Right.
Meanwhile, you got these little ring weapons and cannons that are shooting at you the whole time. And if you stop shooting at them and haven't destroyed them, they just regrow. And so it's like, okay, just like waste all my resources coming into this thing.
And I would like to say also that your number 5 was in contention for me, like putting in also that specific Bowser at the last fucking castle.
Solid list. Brady, let's go with you.
All right. Mine might miss some of these like kind of classic.
Oh, I'm with you.
Well-known boss fights because I limited to. I made sure it had to be things that I've actually fought against. And it had to be, and I tried to limit it to only one per series or game or anything like that, because there are some games that have like tons and tons of like really really good bosses. So starting with number 5, I know I wanted a good fighting game boss. The final boss in fighting games are also often very iconic, and I narrowed it down to really 2 of those. One of them being, and this is not it. One of them being M. Bison from Street Fighter 2. I remember that was one of the first fighting games I ever played. My brother had a Super Nintendo, and that motherfucker was annoying. But I went with the other side of the coin with this with Mortal Kombat 2's Shao Kahn. In the first game, you had Goro was like the tough guy, and then when you got to Shang Tsung, he wasn't really even that hard. But Shao Kahn, like, he was a final boss that was like, fuck, this guy cheats. He fucking cheats.
Yes, he does.
Like, this is a character that I do not feel is fair.
He's got a hammer.
Yeah, the hammer, the
shadow shoulder,
the shoulder charge,
his green laser spear.
He could just fucking taunt. Like, he was the only character that just had a taunt.
He would taunt on you.
Suck. Like, he'd hit you all the way across the screen as you're flying. Goes, you suck, and just, oh my god.
Yeah, like this. Like,
he was the original troll.
Absolutely busted ass character, which is what you want your final boss oftentimes to be. And in fact, I think he really started that with fighting games to have an absolutely busted ass final boss that people fucking hated playing against, and so that's my number 5.
And you'd have to spam the fireball with Liu Kang just to even.
Because until then, like, for most of Mortal Kombat 2 and the early Mortal Kombat, you could just like uppercut people to death in that game working to it, and then you get.
You get to Shao Kahn, it's like, no.
You get to Shao Kahn, and fuck no.
Speaking of Liu Kang, you try and bicycle kick that motherfucker, he'd grab you and start throwing you around the fucking room.
Yeah. So number 4 is from a game that is nothing but boss fights, and this is Shadow of the Colossus. Now, I have there are 16 bosses in this to fight. Which one did I pick? I picked the 5th Colossus, which none of them actually have names, but they've been named by the community. Avion is what this one's name is.
This is flying motherfucker.
This is the bird one. This is the first flying one.
Dude.
The first flying one. Because this is like a true fucking puzzle. Because, okay, set the scene.
Yeah.
You come into this big open like lake.
You have like stone columns
with this stone
and
thing in the middle. And you just see the thing flying above, and then you have to figure out how to get this motherfucker. So you have to figure out, oh, okay, I gotta stand in this right place, and then I gotta shoot it to get its attention and to have it dive at me, and then I have to jump and then grab onto it. And as soon as you grab onto it, like, the wind starts flowing and the music, like, until then there's no music, and then as soon as you grab onto the thing and you start flying, this music, this epic music starts going.
This orchestra just comes in out of nowhere.
And like you're holding on for dear life because it's flying higher and higher, and it is so fucking exhilarating. And you have to climb. You have to work your way slowly to each of its wings and hit the seals on the wings.
And every time you hit it, the motherfucker tries to shake you off.
He tries to spin and shake you off.
As the barrel rolls, it goes up and down.
Right. Like, it is so exhilarating. And then you'll fall down and you're like, fuck, I gotta go back up. I gotta climb back up here and do this again.
You have to swim onto the platform, catch his attention again.
But it is so exhilarating because there's this moment of quiet because you're sitting there like with no music or anything, and you're trying to figure out, okay, how the fuck do I even get to this thing? Oh my God. And then you're like, oh, okay, I can do this. And then when it starts and you're like, oh shit, this is epic as fuck. Like, yeah. So yeah, this is to me, this is like the one of the big standouts.
That is the best fight in the game, really.
Yeah. There's tons of, like, all of them, none of them are bad, but like, this is like the absolute, I think this is the best one because this is the most epic
because
feeling.
All the Colossi, like, when you're on top of them, anytime that, even if you're not hitting the seal, anytime that you're like moving, some of them try and shake you off, and you've got to take your time to hold on and then move back up and get in placement, and then you hit the seal once, and then you got to hold on again because it says, and then doing that shit in the air, fucking insane.
I will say fuck the bull.
The bulls
the bull sucks. I mean, like, in a difficult way.
Yeah, both of those are very annoying because it's like that's more of a platform.
Did you think the boss, real quick? Did you think the boss, the final boss in that was kind of anticlimactic compared to everything else?
Because he really doesn't. Because once you get to him, like,
he's slow and lumbering.
That's just a climbing section, really. Like, there's no, once you get to him, there's no challenge.
Right. Yeah.
Like, he has the beam thing, but then
I always thought that was deliberate.
Yeah,
I always thought that was a deliberate story
just
choice.
Just a narrative choice there.
Probably, though. But there's tons of really good ones. The one that's in the sand area that you have to shoot the sacks down. That one's really good. That one, the fish one is the worst one. The fish one, like, with the electricity, is fucking annoying.
I like the Poseidon one. We have to like hit the teeth so that way he turns and you move.
Oh yeah,
he moves forward.
Yeah.
That
But yeah,
one I
that's the great for a game that's nothing but boss fights. I figured like one of those has to be on there. So number 3 is from the game Batman Arkham City. And so that's the sequel to Arkham Asylum. And that game was known for having really shitty boss fights. So they kind of made up for it in the in Arkham City. But most of these fights were like just okay, I have to figure out his patterns and fight him in that. But this one, so in the Arkham games, there's basically two phases of the game. There's a fight phase where you're like taking on like loads and loads of thugs
like
and beating them down. And then there's also where they will drop you into this area where the thugs are all walking around and you don't see and they don't see you, so you have to like stealth around and take them out one by one and take them out in just the right order. And by the end, the last one's like freaking out because he's super scared, and you're using that against him, and you're feeling like Batman. But none of the boss fights did that. It was just a fight, except for the fight with Mr. Freeze.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And this also kind of makes you feel a little powerless, because if Mr. Freeze finds you, he's gonna fuck you up. So, but you're in this area and you have to sneak around and you have to take him out. And every single time that you take him out in one specific way, he corrects for that, and you can't take him out in the same way twice. So you have to take him out in different ways every single time. And it's such a good, tense boss fight, because you've been feeling pretty powerful in these in the last game and in this game, and you kind of feel a little on edge. Like you feel, oh shit, if he finds me, I'm fucked. So yeah, Mr. Freeze, that's the number 3. That leads us to number 2, which so one of my favorite game series is the God of War game series. And there are tons and tons of really good boss fights in that. I would argue the first God of War game on the PS2 does not really have that great of bosses. The Hydra is like one of the best intro boss fights ever, but they do really good with intro boss fights. But the other 2 boss fights in that game aren't that good. They kind of made up for that in God of War 2, where they had a ton of bosses and they were all really, really good. And 3 had some good ones, but you know, the newer God of War games, those boss fights don't really stand out quite as much for me. But so I went with 2. And of this one, I sat and I thought about it really hard, and I'm going to go with the Sisters of Fate boss fight, which is a multi-stage boss fight, and it's technically 2 boss fights in one, but I'm gonna count them all together because there's not anything between the first boss fight and then the second one. So you start out fighting Lachesis, who is in this room of mirrors, and she's like bouncing off like shots and things like that, and you have to take her out. And then you get pulled into a fight with Atropos, who actually brings you back in time to the end of the first game, where Kratos is fighting Ares, and he's fighting him, and you're fighting him in the past in the background, and you have to fight her on the sword that you pull out to beat Ares with. And you're having to fight her, and she is trying to destroy that sword, because if she destroys that sword, you can't beat Ares. So if she destroys the sword, it's automatic game over. So you're having to fight her and defeat her, but also and all the minions that she's summoning, but also keep her from breaking the sword. Okay. And then you get pulled into a fight with both Atropos and Lachesis, where Atropos is coming in and out of the mirrors and hitting you, and then also Lachesis is doing her thing all around. So you have to defeat both of them. All right. And that's the first boss fight, and then it leads directly into the second boss fight, which is really more of kind of like a platforming thing, where you have to fight Clotho, who is this giant, multi-tittied, fat, ugly, nasty bitch who actually weaves the loom from the loom of fate. And you're having to work and defeat her and knock out her little hands that she spawns, and you eventually like take this like pendulum thing and kill her with it, and that leads into the last boss fight of the actual game. But yeah, I think this of like especially the original series, I think this is probably like the best fight of that entire
And
series.
that's God of War 2.
God of War
Yes.
2, yeah. So that leads us into number 1. And number 1 is a repeat. And this is I'm just gonna go on. This is from Final Fantasy VI. This is Kefka. Like Kefka is like, I think, the best villain in the entire
Cosign.
in the entire series of games. But they've had some really good villains, but he is like the absolute best. And this is a brilliant fight. Seconding everything that Jay says, the fact that you have to like work your way up this tower, and every one of them is like this horrifyingly gorgeous thing that you have to fight, and then you get to finally Kefka, and he looks like this angelic figure, and the music that's playing, which I believe is Dancing Mad.
Yeah. Dancing Mad or Dancing Madness. I think you're right. Actually, I think
One or
it's
the
Dancing
other.
Mad, yeah.
That's playing, and that's one of the best themes from any Final Fantasy. But yeah, and just the fact that you've worked so hard, and he again with just like villains, he's one of the best villains, period, because like he's the guy who won. Like nobody else gets to none of these other guys got to win.
Nope. My favorite supervillain of all time.
Yeah, there's like tons and tons of like really great Final Fantasy boss fights.
I may have mentioned, and it's the reason why I kept it up, but I want to mention it again, the pre-talk, like the basically the promo before the match, where everybody like talks about what they've found throughout the journey and what's giving them hope. It's like, I found the ability, like Locke, I found the ability to love again, or to let go of things, and like all they all list out every one of these things that are these positive. I believe, and you go, and Kefka goes, whatever, because he is the ultimate nihilist.
Yeah.
The ultimate nihilist.
Yeah, and he's also like he's also an understandable villain, because like he was like experimented on and shit. So you can kind of see how he got to the point that he does. But like it's a great boss fight. It's difficult without being feeling broken. Because there are a lot of like times in Final Fantasies where you will fight somebody and this is fucking broken. But yeah, like this is of most of my short list. Like a lot of my short list came from Final Fantasy fights. There's some great ones in 10. I think for all the shit that it gets, 13 had some actually really really good boss fights.
My problem with 13 is that you have one line to get to them, and it takes too long to get to them.
It's the rest of the game that's the problem. The actual fighting system and the boss, and especially the boss fights. The boss fights were like really good, but like none of those can really compare to this, even though like there are some like really classic ones. But yeah, so that's my number 1.
Nice. Very, very, very nice list. So that leaves me. So I will say I don't have a lot of like classic old school video game bosses. Mine are more so newer generation bosses.
And mine was like most of those old games I didn't beat.
Yeah,
like
right.
I never beat the original Super Mario.
Ethan's number 5, level 150 on Candy Crush.
The final Angry Birds level.
Yeah,
but I also wanted to include games that I've actually beaten myself.
Well, yeah, that's the point.
okay, so that's 4 of them. Anyway,
So
I had to sneak that in there.
How many of these are remasters? Okay, continue.
Brady, sneak something in.
I'm not giving him shit because like he's probably, his stuff is probably about as new as most of mine. So like,
my number 5, one of my favorite game series is the Pokemon series. Like,
okay,
the classic. You get your starter Pokemon. You go, you collect badges, and you defeat the
badges. We don't need those
the Elite
badges.
Four, the champion.
Actually, you
whatnot.
need specifically 8.
Yes. And in the second game, you need 16.
What?
Yeah.
Because you got to go back and get the Johto Kanto badges. Yeah, that's right. Never mind.
Jesus.
I forgot about that.
So Black and White is the 5th generation of Pokemon games. I beat the Elite Four, I beat the champion, and now we go into the post game where I'm having to grind so I can defeat the Elite Four again and defeat the actual champion because the plot was someone took over someone defeated the original champion and I had to defeat him. And so I'm grinding and I get to this beach house that's a little coastal city and whatnot. Is quiet, not really much going on. I go into this house and I see a figure that is very familiar, and all of a sudden I hear this like very blood pressure induced rising piano music going, as it is Cynthia from one of the past games, and she's like, "Oh, this is just my rental house. Oh, you're a trainer. Oh, I'm gonna fight you now." And so we go into the battle and as we're fighting, all this intense piano music just kind of kicks in. And I'm like, I wasn't prepared for this. I wasn't ready for this. I wasn't expecting this. You're not supposed to be here. And so yeah, it was a funny thing that happened. Cynthia.
A funny thing happened to me on the way to the Pokemon house.
Yeah.
A funny thing happened.
Wait a minute. So when you ran D&D, there was this portion where one of the things we went to was at the end of one of the entrances to the regular verse was like a beach house. Well, could we have maybe fought Cynthia in D&D?
I don't know. Could you?
Oh, we'll never know now. Okay, here we go. Moving on.
Cynthia from Pokemon Black and White.
All right.
Okay. All right.
My number 4 is a boss from the game Undertale.
Okay.
Going through the game, you have 3 choices. You have a pacifist run, you have a regular run, and then you have the also dreaded genocide run. And although he is not considered the final boss, but he is one of the most difficult bosses I've ever fought, and that is Sans. Sans, he opens up the fight with a conversation and throws you into all different kinds of bullshit with bones coming at you from all angles. You have gas blasters shooting beams at you. You're having to dodge every little thing, and then you get to the fight menu.
Because just to point out something, it's based off of JRPG styling stuff, but when you're attacked, you have this little square, and you're basically placing the movement part of a shoot 'em up as you're trying to avoid all this stuff.
Yes.
And sometimes it's a platformer, and sometimes it's something completely different.
Yeah.
And all of that happens before you even choose your first option. And so you can lose the fight even before you have the chance to make a single move.
Wow.
I've played it so many times, and I've only been able to beat it once. It's memorable in playing the pacifist run with having Sans as an ally, and then going straight into the genocide run where you've killed his brother, you've killed all of his friends, and now he's here to fuck you up. And so, yeah, Sans is number 4.
Sun is shining, birds are singing. On days like this, kids like you should burn in hell. And then everything right at you. Yeah.
And his eyes kind of darken, and you see that menacing blue color.
Which, real quick, this is for us here. That was my number 7.
Okay. Nice.
If we get into it, I'll get into my 6 in a little bit. But yeah, I'll continue on there.
So number 3, much like Brady, is also from a game with nothing but boss fights. However, I chose with the final Colossus called Malice, Malus, mainly for the emotional drawback of it, because throughout the entire game, it is you, your sword, and your horse. Your horse, Aggro, I believe.
Aggro, yeah.
Yeah, Aggro. You travel on him throughout all of your boss fights. He's your companion from the very beginning of the game. You go up to, you're reaching the final area, and you come across this stone bridge. There's a little gap, and Aggro has to make a jump, and as soon as he gets onto the bridge, it starts collapsing behind him. Aggro is doing everything he can to get you across the bridge safely. He humps you over.
Phrasing.
Chucks you.
He chucks you.
Throws you. There's no horse humping.
We do
in
a
Shadow of the
Yoshi
Colossus.
sacrifice, but it's actually means something this
Bucks
time.
you. Bucks you.
Bucks you.
Buck.
He bucks
Not
you.
the fricative.
BUCKS. He bucks you over, as we are believed that he sacrificed himself for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so going into the final boss with Malice, like Aggro's just like Aggro carried me through everything, and the one time where it actually matters, he's not able to be with me.
Mm-hmm.
As Malice is throwing all different kinds of rays or firebolts or whatever they were, killing me. As soon as I like duck my head up, he like, ooh, fireball, bam, dead. Ooh, fireball, dead.
And this is also like it's raining. And
It's raining.
And it never rains.
Thunder.
There's no weather. There's no weather. I don't think through any of the other ones.
No.
Nothing sticks out with me.
I don't remember there being like that orchestral music playing as you're climbing him either. And so
I think that one's entirely silent.
Yeah, and so
if
you're
I'm not
climbing
mistaken,
him.
it's just the sound effects of like all the other of like the rain and shit.
And so you're climbing Malice with nothing but the wind, the rain, the lightning, as he's trying everything to like shake you off, throw bolts at you, and as soon as you plunge that the sword one final time, is I recently played Shadow of the Colossus and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a happy ending.
Oh yeah.
Only to find out that Aggo's still alive.
Spoiler! No.
Your horse dies, no.
Oh my
but
god,
you
that
do.
that game's 20 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shadow.
Yeah.
Shadow came out at the very end of the PS2.
Yeah, it really couldn't, like the PS2 actually could not handle that game. Like
Yep.
it would.
Yeah, there's a lot of fogs to hide.
Yeah, and there's a lot of
things.
like slowdowns and skips and everything. So
There's also a lot of anti-aliasing that just aliases.
yeah.
The
That's-
remakes have done a very
the remake
great
was
justice.
very
Yeah,
very good.
I love the remake.
The remake
that's
was
what
very
I
very
played
good.
on.
Yeah. That's a good pick. That would have been my other one besides the one that I picked. Because there is like it is a little anticlimactic to me, but it's also there is that emotional thing, and the atmosphere of that one is like very strong.
Right.
The challenge, it's not as challenging as some of the other ones. And there's not
Right.
like as much of a puzzle
But the
aspect.
emotional
There's
feedback
emotional
from-
pull.
There's emotional and just that atmosphere with with it's just the rain and
the sheer size of
yeah, and he
Malice.
is like he's not the biggest one, but he's like the tallest one.
He's the Colossus.
Yeah. I think the sand one is actually like the biggest one, but he is still but like just height. He's like the tallest one. So yeah, good choice.
So number 2, it is going to be from a Legend of Zelda game.
Okay.
My favorite Legend of Zelda game is Wind Waker.
Okay.
However, the very first game I've ever played was Ocarina of Time.
Mm-hmm.
And after going through and getting all of the pendants from the Zora, the
Gerudo.
the Great Deku Tree,
Also the Kokiri specifically. is the name of it,
yeah. Finding all the sages, and as adult Link, you go into the final fight of Ganondorf to save Princess Zelda. You eventually defeat him, and you're left with a shattered rooftop with you, Zelda, and Ganondorf laying on the ground. And as soon as you think it's over, you see Ganondorf rise up, and you see him start to transform into this monstrosity. He grows horns, tusks, a tail, and he pulls out 2 big ass fuck off swords as you go into the final fight with Ganon.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my gosh, like again with like the atmosphere, you have the music playing, you're rolling underneath Ganon to swipe at his tail, and as soon as you get the final blow, and he goes into the cinematic of you just flailing your sword all over the place as you stab Ganon right square in the forehead.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes to Metroid, where you have to run down to the very bottom of the tower before it collapses on you.
Yep.
I thought that the tower collapse happened first and then you fought Ganondorf. Has it been that long that I've forgotten about this?
I don't know.
You fight Ganondorf, and then
I thought you fought Ganon at the top of the tower, had to make all the way down the tower, and then it's the fight with Ganondorf because the whole tower collapses.
I don't know.
Passengers, correct one of us in the comments, please.
Yeah.
But it's like you
But
fight,
yeah,
you fight
regardless.
Ganondorf, and then he transforms into Ganon, and then you run down to the bottom. The tower collapses, and pieces regained over all of Hyrule.
Without spoiling anything, your fight here would have been this one here. My number 3,
Yeah.
the Tears of the Kingdom fight supplanted that for me because it hits a lot of the same emotional beats, but does it in a way that I think has been so perfectly refined and is so perfect to the console that it's on. That's just my opinion on that one, obviously. But it would have if Tears of the Kingdom Ganon didn't exist, Ocarina of Time Ganon would have taken that spot.
Yeah. So Ganondorf / Ganon for Ocarina of Time. Yes. My number 1 is one that is the boss that I have attempted to defeat the most in all my years of playing video games. My all-time one of my favorite series, Kingdom Hearts.
I knew it was going to be a Kingdom Hearts game.
And I also was slightly scared that someone was going to shoot it immediately, but that is not the reason. My favorite Kingdom Hearts game is Birth by Sleep. It has one of the cool things about it is you have a selection of 3 characters that you can play their story through. I chose Terra because he looked the coolest.
Oh, I know which one this is.
He had one of the coolest swords. He has one of the coolest suits of armor, which cool. I'm going to choose the cool, edgy character. And so going into the very last fight, it is you playing Terra versus the ultimate boss of the series, Xehanort, and I want to say it's like the husk of Ventus.
You got me.
Something like that. But it goes through a fight against both of them, and I eventually defeat them. Then it goes into this cinematic of the husk of Ventus runs down the mountain and stabs the actual Ventus, which unlocks some kind of power within Xehanort to take over Terra's body and kind of like combine both of them. So that way Xehanort has all this huge, immense power, and he's going to take over the Kingdom Heart. However, there's one thing that's stopping him, and it is the suit of armor that Terra was wearing. And so it is you as the suit of armor fighting Xehanort. And I've played this exact same scenario so many times. When I finally got to the point where I've defeated him, he's separated himself from Terra, and Mickey Mouse is like standing amongst all of us, and we're like looking over all the desolate lands. I've never like had so much like stress and anger like leave my body. And so whenever I saw that the screen fade to white with all of it, I know a lot of people don't like the Kingdom Hearts game, but this one immense difficult boss fight is what makes it for me.
There was a couple of Kingdom Hearts bosses on my short list.
Which Kingdom Hearts game was that?
Birth by Sleep.
Birth by Sleep. Okay.
And I've actually, it wasn't too long ago, I watched a video of like the hardest Kingdom Hearts bosses, and this one's on there. And they said, especially if you're playing as Terra, because Terra makes the game, just his moveset and everything is much harder than the other 2 guys. You can beat him a lot easier with them.
Yeah.
Like he's not a super hard boss unless you're fighting with Terra.
And which boss?
Xehanort.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, the last boss of that.
Sephiroth sucked in the...
I could never beat Sephiroth in 1, but I did beat him in 2. And that was on my short list.
Yeah.
And the final boss of 2 is in my short list.
Yes.
Yeah, I like the first Kingdom Hearts game.
The first 2, those are the only ones that I played. I actually have this game, but I never even played it.
I would highly recommend Birth by Sleep.
But they do like for all of like the esoteric storytelling and you're gonna go cross-eyed just trying to figure out what the hell's going on. They do boss fights well.
Yeah,
that's a good series for boss fights.
One fight that I just found like extremely annoying was where you're in the world of Lilo and Stitch, and you're on the alien spaceship. You meet Jumba, and he's like, "Hey, would you like to fight one of my experiments?" And he sends out Sparky, the little electric alien. And he's just zipping around, just like running by me and dealing like residual damage. I'm like, slow the fuck down.
You know, it's funny. Before you started giving your list, Ethan, you're like, "Oh, most of my games are gonna be kind of like new." It's like Shadow of the Colossus came out in 2005 originally. Ocarina came out in 98 originally. You know, even the Pokemon game came out in 2010 that he's talking about. Yeah. So those are...
We're getting closer to 10 years on Undertale.
Undertale's been out for a while.
But like compared to like yours and Jay's list, more so.
Well,
no, that I'll definitely give you that.
That's true.
To be fair, I have the most recent game on the list with Tears of the Kingdom. But
that's true.
Yeah, most I'm pulling all the way back from Nintendo. Also, real quick, let me get this one out of the way.
Yeah,
I said my number 7 was Sans. My number 6 would have been Gygus from Earthbound, because not for how original that boss fight is. And I won't go any further than that because I really want people to experience that.
I would also say, like, there are other games and other bosses I would have put on the list that maybe one other person in the room would have gotten. And my number 6 would have been specifically, I can't remember his name, but the boss for the Shinto clan in Bushido Blade 2.
Yeah.
Also, you want to talk about emotional, that whole, like, anytime you played through that game, and I won't go into that specifically, but it was a different experience depending on what character you played, and it was always emotional no matter what when you got to the end of it. Specifically, there's a protagonist for both clans, and so when you went through the game with each of those, it was a very emotional situation there with that. So that would have definitely been in my contention. But again,
was Shinto the one that teleported all the time, or was that the Narukagami one?
That's the Shinto.
That's the Shinto one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So these are the lists.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Some honorable mentions for me. The most of the beginning fights in any you don't have to write any of these down.
I like to just include it just because. I mean,
like I said, the Hydra, the Colossus in God of War 2, Poseidon in God of War 3.
Yeah.
Those are great fights. The PSP God of War games also, the final fight with Persephone in Chains of Olympus, the final fight with Thanatos is really cool because you're actually fighting with Kratos' brother, and Kratos' brother has the Spartan shield and sword and spear. So you're doing like double moves with him. Like, it's really cool. Like, you didn't get to do that in any other game until the new God of War.
The recent one, God of War Ragnarok, I very enjoyed the fight with Heimdall.
Okay.
Because it's forcing you to utilize the spear that you get.
I haven't gotten very far in that game, so I never got to that.
I mean, what spear?
Yeah, he fucking spoiled God the
I
first
thought you'd
PS4.
already gotten past that part and I fucked up. That was
the very end of the game.
My bad.
I knew that was a character because I just osmosis. You know, you're trying not to keep it, but I don't know when the fuck I'm gonna pick that game back up. But yeah.
Another honorable for me was Cervantes from the Soul Calibur series.
Oh yeah.
From the original Soul Calibur. Soul Blade.
Soul Blade.
Saren from Mass Effect 1 was really cool because you could skip a whole section of his boss fight. You could just talk him into killing himself.
Oh, nice.
Is really cool. Final Fantasy X had a couple of really good boss fights. Seymour Flux, which is the Seymour on the mountain, which is like super fucking hard. And then Lady Unalesca. That's the first time that I actually died in that game when I played it. Some really good stuff.
Ethan, any quick honorable mentions before we start parsing?
The weapons from Final Fantasy 7 and 9 and 10.
Okay.
And 10 too.
And
I'm kidding.
And then when they put them back in the remakes of Final Fantasy IV.
Oh, yeah, sure. Why not?
So while he's thinking, one that I didn't put on here because I don't think it's like as iconic and strong as these other ones, but a very tense boss fight that I always remember for me is the first Infamous, the very final boss in that.
I never played it.
That's one of the tensest boss fights that I've ever had because I feel like at any moment during that whole entire boss fight that I could die, and I have to be on it the entire boss fight, picking up power ups to give me more energy and everything.
It's that weird feeling like that I've only ever gotten from shoot 'em ups, where it's like I am tense the entire time because any time I might get hit, it's done.
Yeah,
like kind of that feeling. Yeah, no, I can co-sign.
Yeah,
on that.
and I don't even remember like his name. I remember like the basics. Those were good games. I enjoyed them because I played the first two. But like I always remember that. But I don't think like it's actually as strong of a boss fight as some of these other ones.
Right.
My honorable mention will be Poseidon from Shadow of the Colossus.
And speaking of that feeling, most of the bosses in Bushido Blade 2 have that feeling to them because Bushido,
because that
one hit can kill you in that game.
Yes, at all times.
At all times.
At all times. All right, gentlemen. We only have one true crossover. Let me see. Even though
but
it
I
is
think
one of my,
we got like really strong.
I think it's
lists.
strong. I think it's strong throughout. Even the honorable mentions, I think, have got some good weight behind them.
Yeah.
I just want to let's go ahead and say the only one true direct crossover we have is Kefka from Final Fantasy VI. I'm not saying number one just yet, but as the contenders, I feel he should be on there. Does anyone have any disagreement with that?
I believe Kefka should definitely be on the top 5 list.
I see no arguments for it. I mean, against the apologies.
I would have put Kefka on there, but I felt like it would have been a wasted slot because I knew it was going to be on there.
Yeah. I thought about that as well because I knew somebody was going to put it on there, but
I knew Jay was going to put it on there.
That was the first thing that I thought of.
Yeah,
I knew you were going to put it on there. I was surprised you put it higher than me. Legitimately, I thought Avion or any of the Shadow bosses might have leapfrogged him on your list just because of how much love I know that you have for that game.
Yeah, I love that game, but like I don't like, but like it's not that. It's kind of more as a whole. But it's just Kefka is so iconic.
He is,
and just like
and inspired outside of video game. Like he's 100% the reason why like Griffin exists in the Berserk world. Like for sure. If he's not, I would be surprised.
I don't know.
Maybe not.
All right, so now we have. Let's talk about our indirect crossovers.
Okay. I was just getting that with you because
go for it then.
To my count, we have 3 like series crossovers. We have 2 mentions of Mother Brain, but across different games. We have 2 mentions of Ganon or Ganondorf with the 2 Zelda games, and we have 2 separate Shadow of the Colossus mentions. But those are different games.
We also have, and one of them's already on the contenders, but we also have a crossover in Final Fantasy where we have Final Fantasy VI as Kefka and Kuja from Final Fantasy IX.
And
so that's a legitimate crossover there as well.
There's also the Metal Gear series.
And the Metal Gears, Liquid Ocelot and Psycho Mantis. That's a good point too.
Yeah. I'm surprised that nobody else really did
fighting
I guess
games?
Fighting games. Like
I was considering
Mike Tyson, but like it's hard. Like Punch Out is one of those tough ones about like fighting, thinking of it as like a fighting game,
right?
But like a traditional like fighting game,
right?
Nobody put those on there.
If I were to have put anything on there, it would have probably been Inferno from SoCal 2.
Yeah,
I liked his shift. I like the shifting forms. Yeah. I like the fact that you're facing different versions.
Right.
None of
the final bosses in Soul Calibur really stuck out to me.
If I were gonna go with a fighting game, I would have gone with Akuma in Street Fighter.
I possibly would have went with Hitachi from Tekken.
Heihachi.
I mean,
Heihachi from the first Tekken's a good
it's
one.
pretty bad.
Yeah. But I'm surprised we didn't do that.
Yeah.
So, I'm just gonna throw this out there because he's a real person, and if he finds out that we didn't put him in the top 5, he might bite Ethan's ear off.
Wait. Why just specifically me?
Because I'm throwing you at him if he's coming at us. I'm saying that right now.
Can you throw me?
Yeah, if Mike Tyson's coming after me, yes, I will summon the strength to lift a fucking helicopter. Yes. So Mike Tyson, like if we want to talk about classically unbeatable bosses.
Right.
He's one of the first.
He is up there.
Like popularly one of the first.
Yeah.
Not even just in video game circles, but in like video games becoming part of the mainstream. Mike Tyson's up there. I think that's a valid one for a contender. So I would put forward Mike Tyson. What are our arguments for or against that?
I don't know.
I don't mind the offer of Mike Tyson, but I feel like there's other memorable games. That
If I was, it's on my list, and I'm not defending it. So I would say like Dracula from Castlevania would be more of a traditional.
So you said again another traditionally hard game too,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and you said it right. If you're not fully upgraded in there, that's a running theme for Konami games of that era. Contra, Gradius. If you don't keep the power ups you get and you die, you're kind of screwed.
I
going
will
through
say
the rest of it.
Contra's end boss is probably one of the easiest out of the Konami line.
What's messed up is the game up to that is Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, there's a reason why there's a cheat code to get 120 lives.
30.
The
It's just
30 times 3.
I burned through 30 lives the first time I did that and lost. So I don't know.
You got 3 continues, my guy.
Yeah. No.
But yes.
No, I think I had one of the early cards that had no continues.
Oh,
I
that's
think-
interesting.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about Dracula is that he's kind of the template of Dracula, and there's like in most other Castlevania games, there's at least a phase of Dracula that works almost exactly like the first phase in this Dracula. where
Particularly, and
he's
like,
teleporting around, he's opening up his cape and shooting fireballs at you. Maybe he's shooting out a different fireball that time.
I would
Super Castlevania 4 in particular, that's the only phase. The only difference is when you get him down to a third life, he starts summoning pillars of lightning that you have to stand in to be able to show up, make sure you don't take damage from that.
Oh, okay.
I would not be opposed to offering Castlevania in the contenders.
So let's look at this as like classic old school games. We got Mike Tyson, we got Dracula, and then we got Bowser. Well, and the original Metroid.
The original Metroid, yeah.
But I'm gonna be honest. If I'm going to pick a Mother Brain, like with story and everything, I think it's Super Metroid wins out that one. The Mother Brain, the original Mother Brain, is like good, but I think Super Metroid does that better. If we do it like that, I think Dracula is the best out of those, but well, we don't necessarily, but that's just me arbitrarily grouping them together like that. So I don't know.
This dead air is killing me.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Looking at a different option, one that uses like forces you to think outside of the box of what you normally do. The Mr. Freeze fight can be difficult if you don't know what you're doing.
He supersedes every single boss in that game, including Clayface at the end.
Yes.
In my opinion. Like because of how ingenious that thing was. Like, if you'd swap Freeze at the somehow make it so that he's the main antagonist for that, but with what they built, it had to be Clayface. But that to me is the hallmark of that entire game.
Yeah, it's annoying that they didn't that's the only boss fight that's like that. And there are several boss fights, and the boss fights are solid, but like that one is so different, and they didn't go back to that. Did they even do that in because I never played the other
Arkham Knights?
Arkham Knights or Origins.
So, no.
I
believe so.
played Arkham Origin up to a point, and I was like, I'm done with this. And
I heard Deathstroke in that is actually really good boss fight.
I could see that being a case. I to me, if it's not Kevin Conroy, I don't care, and it wasn't, and so I didn't.
Fair enough.
Like you're underneath the grates and you attack Freeze from underneath, and he's like, okay, fine, I'm gonna take away your grates. Shh. You attack him from the gargoyles. Okay, I'm gonna take away your gargoyles. Freeze them. He's making you think of what you outside of what you normally are comfortable.
Yeah, because usually when you get one of these areas, you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Okay, let me set up on the gargoyle. Okay, this is where they go. This is where they go. This is where they go. Okay, I know. I'm just gonna.
I know the patterns.
I'm gonna go around in gargoyle. I'm gonna gargoyle all these people, and then this one guy, he walks by the grate. I'm gonna go under the grate with him. But usually you tend to like, okay, I'm just gonna hang all of them from gargoyles, or something like that. And he's like, no, you can only do that. You get that once. You get one of those. And then you don't get any more of those.
Well, if we want to get into game theory here, he throws dominant strategy completely out the window because of just, you can't.
Because
pick
up
one
until this
thing.
time, you're doing usually you're probably approaching it pretty much the same way every single time, except maybe a couple of guys you can't get to them the way you normally do it.
Yeah.
But he's like, no, you're gonna have to actually think, use all of your tools.
Jody, jump in. What are you feeling?
I haven't really played the Arkham games that much. I played
Very good.
I played a little bit of Arkham City. It was a solid ass game. I just got sidetracked on another game
that's how it works.
moved on to something else. And
that and it's open world, so you can actually get sidetracked within the game itself.
Oh, it's very sandboxy, for sure.
Yeah.
The Solomon Grundy fight I actually enjoyed.
Most of the
I don't remember a bad fight in that game. But this one was just so different that it stuck out.
I'm okay with Mr. Freeze being in the top 5, for real.
Any objections to that?
I mean, I'm not gonna object. So
all right, then, Mr. Freeze, Arkham City, welcome to the top 5.
Question for you, for Brady and Jody,
Mm-hmm.
because Jay's already said that this one's was in his honorable mentions.
Mm-hmm.
How do y'all feel about the Sans fights?
I've never played Undertale.
I
I know
play-
about it, but I
Yeah.
don't. But I don't have anything against Undertale. It's
Right,
it's a
I
very
don't either.
I appreciate Undertale more than I actually care about it or like it. But I've heard that that it's a crazy boss fight out of the box. Oh shit! One of the other honorable mentions that I had was the first boss of Nier Automata. That's a crazy boss fight because sometimes that's a like an action adventure thing, almost like a Devil May Cry thing, and then sometimes it's fucking bullet hell.
Right. No
because
DMC on the list either.
It changes.
There is no that. Okay, that's a very good point. Christopher Gomez is mad at all us for this. There is no Devil May Cry at all on this thing, and
Yeah.
that is a game that is a fast-moving train that crashes into a boss.
Yeah.
Every time.
So with that one, I've really only fully played through 2 of them. I never played through the original trilogy. I had Devil May Cry 3 and I ran into into brick walls because it's a hard fucking game.
If you lose 20 times in a row, it unlocks easy mode.
4, I got that super fucking early.
You got that the first 20 times he played.
4 and then DMC Devil May Cry.
That game gets more shit than it should. That is a solid game.
It shits on some of the legacy of the game, but the actual gameplay is super fucking fun. And it had good bosses, but nothing that rose to the level of this. And Devil May Cry 4 has some decent bosses, but nothing that rose to the level of this. So that's why I didn't put
And I don't think
Devil
any
May
of us
Cry.
have played DMC 5, have we?
No, I keep saying I'm going to get it, but I never do. So I don't have that.
When I get my PS5,
If I played through Devil May Cry 3, Virgil would be on there because I heard that's a really good boss fight. Virgil and Final Fantasy. Devil May and DMC is really good.
Yeah.
But it's just nothing rose to that level. There's a boss in DMC where you fight him in it's almost like a cyberspace type thing because he's the media guy. That's interesting, but it didn't stick out quite enough where I was I need to put this on there.
Yeah, that's going back to the Undertale situation. That's gonna be similar to half of the list because I didn't play all of the Metal Gear games.
Yeah,
so
Metal Gear is I don't like playing those games. I don't hate them, but I don't like playing them. So I've never played any of those games. But I know about Psycho Mantis.
Yeah.
And I know about Liquid Ocelot and the Solidus Snake in the second one. And, was it in in Revengeance, the Senator Armstrong? I'm gonna need some sources on that. My sources are I made it the fuck up.
It's a bunch of right-wing talking points while he punches a cyborg. It's
Yes.
very weird and strange.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm with you, Joey. A lot of things are limited because I just haven't played
Right.
or beat these games.
I didn't get to play. I haven't played any of the God of War games. Not a one.
Oh, we've got to fix
If
that.
you have a PlayStation 3, I have the God of War collection.
Yeah, I don't have a PS3 because during that time period, I want a little side note here. I was an idiot because I based my console purchases off of launch, and I keep forgetting that with the exception of the original Nintendo, the launch sucks.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what system it is. Launch for PS2 was absolute dumpster fire trash.
Yeah.
So because
And the bouncer.
because
Sorry, I had to get that one in
because the PS3 was like, hey, guess what? Soon after the console comes out, you get to play Lair, the worst game on the system. No,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a 360, thanks. So I missed out on a lot of shit.
Factor 5 left Nintendo. The Factor 5 had done the Rebel Assault games for the GameCube. They left that to do Lair.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's sad.
Okay,
That's
continuing.
Moving on.
Yeah.
But yeah, and even like I know like my pick in God of War probably isn't gonna get because like the Sister of Fate I think is like one of the best boss
Right.
battles, but like it's not like super iconic. It's not like the Colossus which is also
Right.
a really good one in our
Man, I wanted to put Prince of Persia up there, but like that whole game is awesome until you get to the last fight, and it's very anticlimactic.
Yeah, the PlayStation 2 one.
Sands of Time.
Yeah, Sands of Time. Sands of Time has really truly one boss fight, and it's not good, and that's but it's kind of
Right.
the point of the game.
Right.
The third one, the Two Thrones, had some solid boss fights, but nothing that the final boss fight is
Warrior
pretty solid.
Within screwed itself in a similar way that Legend of Zelda with Wind Waker screwed that because it was a dramatic departure in art style from the previous game into the next one.
Well, it was when we all wanted to be fucking edgelords, so they went
Everyone
super
wanted
edgelord.
edgelord.
Oh man, I forgot about Borderlands. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
Sorry, Holder.
I've never played Borderlands long enough to actually play.
Borderlands
find a
2
boss, I
had
don't
some
think.
solid bosses. So back to our fucking
That's
list.
yeah. We're already a while into this.
Yes.
Let's
And we have
see.
3 more we got to
We're
get in.
We got
avoiding-
3 more.
If we want to go generational, because we have a lot of different console generations on the board.
We've got an option. We've got generational. We've got again. It's tenuous, but I would say Mike Tyson is a fighter, and so it's a fighting game. We got fighter with the Shao Kahn and Mike Tyson, and if we vote on that, we can get one of them on the
I
list.
take Shao Kahn over Mike Tyson.
I'd prefer Shao Kahn over
Oh wow.
Mike Tyson.
Okay. I mean, I'm not going to argue against that.
Let's just use Brady's whole entire top
Yeah,
five.
let's just
Bang,
Oh,
Bang.
Oh, shot.
Okay then.
The bullet's been used.
Mike Tyson.
Oh, he shot it and then made a decision on the contenders.
I don't want this man eating Ethan's ears off.
Okay.
Unless
All
you're
right.
not the legit,
That's
the real
fine.
talk. I can erase Mike Tyson right now.
It's
I can
fine. Like I'm not.
Are we? If anybody's offended by that,
No.
like the bullet stands. I shot it, but if we want to take Mike Tyson off there, to be fair, again, if we also want to put another genre out here of hard goddamn fucking boss fights,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
man, this
that's
man was
definitely
the
up there.
first.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's
that's
fair.
definitely up
All
there.
right. That's fine.
I feel like we would be. I don't want to pull a Jody and not have some kind of Legend of Zelda on the list.
He's referencing that you
um,
shot the Legend
yeah,
of
I
Zelda.
Well,
removed
if we're
all
gonna
of
do
them.
that,
Yeah.
I think Ocarina of Time because like Tears of the King. I haven't played it. I don't even know when the fuck I'm gonna
to be
play
fair,
about it.
I'm the only person at this table that
Yeah.
has it because I'm the only
Yeah.
one who has the game, so I can appreciate. I don't want to say it through lack of knowledge.
And when it
because
comes to
they'll-
like
yeah.
classicness, like that's definitely
and
one of those.
arguably still the best Zelda game of all time ends with one of the best boss fights of all time.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any disagree? Or do you have an extra bullet in that jean jacket of yours?
Are you
ready to
hiding
throw
one
it?
from us?
I want to say.
I will say like I like the stab through the head better in Wind Waker just because it's cartoony and then you're like, oh
Yeah.
fuck, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
and then he turns
Yeah.
to stone
Yeah.
out of nowhere. Yeah,
like that's badass.
all right, Jody, you have a word.
I don't hate Legend of Zelda. I just with the exception
I
of
shot it,
But you have a
professionally.
brand, so
I have I played a couple of them. I don't care. Put it on the list.
You sure?
Nah,
I
we
don't
wanna-
care.
We're not. Fuck it. No,
We don't
no.
have 4 hours to decide.
This is true.
I'm
This is
fine with
true.
it being
This
on the
is true.
list.
Oh man, so let's see.
This is gonna be tough though. This last one.
So let's see.
Pokemon Black and White Cynthia. There you go. Problem solved.
No.
No.
I can just go there and walk it right there. Look,
No.
Someone stop me! What the hell are you doing?
I'm the closest. I'm
Fuck.
not going to stop.
Yeah.
So I think we've got and again, like, stop me if I'm wrong. So I think we've got fighting games covered, and you know, Mike Tyson. That's a type of fighting game, not a traditional one. We've got I think we've got role playing games locked down.
We got an action adventure.
We got an action adventure thing. To me, it's between Dracula, Bowser, and Super Metroid Mother Brain. That's where I'm seeing it.
Should we go on Smash Brothers right now and figure it out that way?
No, because whoever, like, there's going to be because Jody and I barely play that game anymore. And
if I play Pokemon Trainer, can that be considered for Pokemon Cynthia?
No.
Damn it.
We're not letting
Bang. I found another bullet. I found another bullet.
He's gone mad with power.
Someone stop him!
This is what we get when we don't remember who did it last time.
Check us out. I'm going to shoot Sans. Wait a minute. Oh, it's for my 7. Okay, there we go.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So,
Narukagami forever. Sorry, I just had to get rid of
to me, it's either Dracula, Super Metroid, or one of the Shadow of the Colossus. Because I can go either way with both of them.
I would like Shadow of the Colossus on there, but I don't think it's necessary. Like with
I would vote for Avion, and I will say this. I will say it for this. That was the highest peak of your energy on that list. I don't know if you even noticed that.
yeah.
When you were explaining the Avion fight and like the fact that you have to hold on to this bird while you're breaking seals on it. When you were describing that, I'm like, if he's bringing this for 4, what is he going to bring for the rest of this list? Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
let me also say this. When you described Avion, there is a choice on my list that reminded me of that. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
I don't know, because like looking at like that's not like I'm compared to some of these other ones. I don't know if I necessarily even want that. Like
if we've got historical covered with Mike Tyson, we do like classic. We have it with Mike Tyson.
Well, we have two 8-bit NES games on there. We have
we have 3. We got
no,
Metroid,
I'm talking about in our
Castlevania,
contender. We have 2 NES games. Well, no, that's Super Nintendo.
NES.
That's Super Nintendo,
Yeah.
Nintendo.
Super Nintendo N64 and Xbox 360, PS3,
PS3,
and whatever other ones.
Yeah,
and now recently the Switch, because you can get all 3
Yeah.
of them.
Well, I'm just saying, like, originally.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you that Ethan didn't play that on an N64. With that being said,
I'll be honest, I'm kind of feeling Dracula. I know that's still an old game, but at least like I don't know.
I kind of agree with you because like it kind of like what Jay said earlier is like this Dracula kind of like set like made.
I said that,
blueprint.
sir.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
My apologies.
Yes.
As you said earlier,
Censored.
this Dracula like set the blueprint.
No,
for,
it's staying in. It's staying in.
like
The
this
clap
is-
was for comedic effect and to interrupt.
Ethan,
some
okay.
more.
Okay, cool.
Gotcha. This set the path for pretty much all of the Draculas for the Castlevania games.
Yeah.
My counterpoint is on his same list. You have Mother Brain, and Mother Brain is mentioned in a different boss fight in a different game. If I'm going to go 8-bit and that era, I'm going to go with the one that is closer to my list, and I'm going with Metroid Mother Brain. That's my feeling on that one. If it ranked higher on his list there,
And the problem with that is if we're gonna go with the Mother Brain, I'm gonna only vote for Super Metroid because I just think that is a stronger boss fight. Putting them head to head, like
I vote I vote Mother Brain. Whichever one gets the more votes, I'm voting Mother Brain.
the Super Metroid one is fine. Like I mean, as far as like if we're voting for one or the other one, I'm okay with the Super Metroid one getting it. If that's what we're doing.
Are we going? Are we moving more
Mother Brain?
towards Super Metroid Mother Brain?
Yeah. What about you, Ethan? What do you think?
I'd kind of like to stick with the Castlevania Dracula pick. However, I am not opposed to putting Mother Brain.
I want to say something real quick before we go any further because we are on borrowed time. Final Fantasy VI is going to win. It's going to be number one. We're all going to vote for it. You're going to be voted out. It doesn't matter what this last pick is. It really doesn't. It doesn't really matter where we're going.
That is the most Kefka thing you could have done there because nothing matters. Holy shit.
Ethan, I'm the nice one this time.
All right, Jody, what do you want for the number 5 contender?
Number
Saying, yeah,
5.
my choice doesn't matter.
Well, Super Metroid, Super Metroid, Super Metroid.
Guess what? My bit didn't get stepped on. All right. So
Yeah! Super Metroid. I will also say this now that it's on there. That is a better horror moment than almost any other Castlevania Dracula reveal. No, when that head goes down and that like that and it's just rising from the thing. Oh my god, that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been scared playing a Castlevania.
Ethan, it's not that I was insinuating that your pick didn't matter. It was me insinuating that this last pick didn't matter altogether. As far as Final Fantasy VI is going to be in the top. Yeah. It's going to be in the top position.
So,
and it's 1:00 in the morning, and it had to be up in 7 hours.
There you go.
So the final contenders are Kefka from Final Fantasy VI, Mr. Freeze from Arkham City, Mike Tyson, just Mike Tyson.
Yeah,
Ocarina
just
of
the
Time,
actual Mike
Ganondorf,
Tyson.
and Super Metroid Mother Brain.
Mm-hmm.
So Kefka number 1, I'm assuming.
I vote for Mike Tyson so that he doesn't bite Ethan's ears off.
I vote for Kefka.
Yeah.
I think Mike
that's
Tyson
easy.
might beat us up if Kefka is not number one.
That is true. Do you want you and me to do Mike Tyson and then they're voting Kefka, which is on our list but not on theirs, and it's a complete fucking what the fuck are they doing?
No, because
now?
I am also tired as well.
Yeah, there we go. All right, that one was an easy one.
All right, quick.
Now let's do the hard shit.
Yeah, Mike Tyson number 5. Fuck him.
Mike Tyson number 2.
No,
I agree with
disagree.
Mike Tyson number 5.
I think Mr. Freeze number 5.
Do you?
Yeah,
Mr. Freeze number 5.
he's the less iconic. Look at this list and tell me what is the.
That
like,
is true.
Look at
you're
that list
right.
and tell me what's the least iconic
That's yeah.
of that. Even though like it's a really good boss fight.
Thank you for
That's
a point
true.
of reason.
That is a
throughout
very
all
good
It's
of
a
point.
this.
really
Yeah.
good boss fight, but it is the least iconic of all of these.
Okay, Mike Tyson number 4.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put him on number 4.
Yeah.
Now this is the hard one.
Ganondorf versus Mother Brain.
Yeah, this is a tough one.
Let me start out real quick. My vote's kind of already put in with this, and I'm gonna say Mother Brain for 2.
For 2, Mother Brain for
That was
number
when
2.
I just sit and like first thing that popped in my head was gut was Mother Brain, but they're like I'm not gonna be mad. Like this is like it's really not gonna matter, but like it does kind of matter.
Let me explain something. Zelda fans are gonna one day see this, hopefully, because they'll be able to read sounds like with their eyes,
Yeah.
and they're gonna be like, "This is not number 1 at all." Well, first of all, they're like, "It's not the most recent Zelda. How dare you? What the fuck? Greatest game of all time." Blah 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 blah. And they're gonna go number. So we're gonna have to fight these motherfuckers. So who would you prefer to fight? Metroid fans or Zelda fans?
I think we can take those fucking twinks. It's number 3.
No, we're not cutting that.
Hostess Twinkies. That's what he's referencing.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he's definitely involving things that are cream filled. All right, yeah. Are you doing the Friends song?
no, I'm stroking.
Yeah, okay, there we go. Oh my
Jesus
God.
Christ.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Oh man.
Travelers on the Omnibus occasionally touches on mature subject matter with mature language. Viewer discretion is advised.
With consent. Number 2 should be Metroid. Mother Brain.
Metroid.
I'm not going to argue.
Okay. Hi, I'm Mother Brain. I'm number 2 on their list.
That is the most accurate cartoon of all time.
Yeah, especially with the voice of Mega Man. Hey, what are you doing, guys? What's happening? Mega High! Mega High!
Mother Brain with gigantic.
Censored.
She's well known for those
Censored.
in the game.
I need my Mega Menthols, Captain Ed.
Oh,
I'm
Jesus.
Simon Belmont, and my guy wasn't put on the list. I'm very mad about that.
Man.
Ethan, for the
Jesus.
love of God,
Okay.
read off the list. It's done. We're done.
Definite, undisputed top 5 video game boss fights of Travelers on the Omnibus. Number 5, Mr. Freeze. Number 4, Mike Tyson. Number 3, Ganondorf. Number 2, Mother Brain. And number 1, Kefka.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I think that's one of the most solid list top fives that we've come up with.
Yeah,
like
good
we had a lot of good clay.
That's
though.
a tough.
Like, we had a lot of good
tough
clay
one to
on that
argue with.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like I think most of these would end up on like a top 100 of like.
Yeah, for
original
sure.
bosses.
Oh, I would imagine, like, that, and just R5. I don't see R5 not being like in a top 20.
Yeah.
Like, very much so.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah,
very
unless
well
they're
done.
like super biased to like older games, then Mr. Freeze might have a hard time getting on there. But
What's weird is if Mike Tyson was making this list, Kefka would still be number 1.
yeah,
It's just weird.
Jay, I'm just now noticing. Did you draw a gun next to Kingdom Hearts?
You just now noticed the gun. I wanted to shoot it, but the one is shielding it, so I
gotcha.
can't be shot.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
look, I'll say this: I don't have any problem with that, and I think that's not a bad pick. With Kingdom Hearts games, I would have went with something else, but something from a Kingdom Hearts, I don't think is a bad pick. But it is funny that like that's your number 1, and we never talked about that. the
Yeah,
entire-
I knew it wasn't going to get put on. I knew it wasn't, but I just wanted to mention it.
yeah. I mean, and I did the same thing.
I don't know. I might have had a heart attack and died. Like, and then you.
I'm gonna be-
anybody-
And then Jody would have taken up your torch and
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I don't ever think any of my picks are going to get picked on these. You can't go into it with that mentality, because I mean that's just the way it is.
I try and challenge myself to get at least one of them on there.
I try and get one of them on there, but I mean, like, I'm not heartbroken if none of mine get on there.
I'm happy.
and I usually end up with a couple, so I'm always happy.
Hey, I got Ocarina of Time on there, so I'm happy.
There you go, buddy.
You got Oot.
I got Oot.
Oot.
We got
Oot
something from
Ganondorf.
everybody's list, right?
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah, everybody got
is
something on there.
represented. Me and Brady are represented twice.
Yep.
Well, you did have crossovers
Yeah,
too.
there you
Yeah.
go.
So, all right, promo
Good
time.
episode. Good episode. Happy happies. Jay, give a happy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Whiskey and Wrestling is the premier wrestling anything on the planet. It is a podcast done by Jason Holder and Michael Hill. Each week they go through news and views from a week's worth of wrestling, along with a fine libation that you should be drinking. Always drink 21 to be drinking. Always drink responsibly. Never drink and drive. Whiskey and Wrestling, available on all major podcasting networks.
Brady, give a happy.
Silence Your Cell Phones is a podcast that our friends Jared Hubbard and Kevin Sheldon do, where they talk about movies, and they're sometimes they'll do some stuff on YouTube. So if you want to hear people's some cool dudes opinions on the movies, on the moving pictures, on the cinema, check them out. Silence Your Cell Phones.
I'm gonna give a happy. A Fearology, hosted by the man on my right, J.O. Kite. He gives his opinions on horror movies specifically. Goes on deep dives of his personal history with them. Check him out. He's on the Spotify and he's on the Amazon.
Nope. When they switch shit over from Anchor, it's only on Spotify right now.
Spotify. That is again Fearology.
There's exactly 12 episodes because my computer is dying, so I can't record anymore right now.
I legit thought you were going to say Fearology. No, it really doesn't matter. I thought you were going to do the same thing to him back. I just,
Jody, tell the fine people about MechNarb Gaming.
MechNarb Gaming in lovely Goshen, Mississippi, not Gautier, like your Google will tell you when you're trying to find it, or the Domino's guy from earlier when I placed an order.
that was comical.
That was hilarious. Have all of your gaming needs from checkers to chess, backgammon, pinochle, poker, shuffleboard. Scratch that. They don't have shuffleboard.
Recently out of stock.
Recently out of shuffleboard. But they have dice and dice towers and things of that nature, and all the things you could actually, have a good time with legally.
Sleeves. They got sleeves.
They have all the sleeves you could ever
for
use
cards,
for any
not for
card
your
game.
arms.
Yeah, you don't need sleeves for your arms.
I don't know if you break out the other side of some of those, you might sleeve your arm with it.
Mega Arm Gaming, owned and operated by one God Emperor himself, Cameron Spanier.
And if you're in the Goshen area on April, not April, October. Jesus, October.
We're past April, man.
October 28th.
We've gone well past April.
Yes.
Go back in time to April and come to McNard Gaming.
Yes.
October 28th, it is the BST for the BST. It is going to be a Modern Unleashed tournament for all you Magic Modern players. There's also going to be different kinds of raffles going on alongside with our annual Halloween party. All contributions are going to be going towards Brendan Scott Tanner of the Completed Podcast for medical needs as he goes through his operations. Brendan, we love you. Stay strong, man. Stay strong. I do believe that's it.
Next time on Travelers on the Omnibus.
I was going to have a tasteless joke, but I decided to not
It's
do that.
analog versus digital, practical effects versus CGI. What do we like and what do we hate? Find out on Travelers on the Omnibus next week.
I've been Ethan.
Same bad time, same bad
Same
channel.
bad time, same bets.
Yes.
Same bets.
I've been Ethan Skinner.
I have been James McCarthy.
I'm Brady Davis.
Jody Kite.
Later, y'all.
Thanks
Yeah.
for stopping by and
we're
enjoying the ride, guys.
We're
you-
fucking tired.
Y'all hear us next week.
I'm so tired, Renee.